Hi everyone, I'm Ken from Crypto Trading KS. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin down 4.87% to 56,323. Ethereum down 5.61% to 4081. My goal is to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, and also gain real wealth in the process. I'd just like to let you know the professional charting platform that I use is TradingView. There's a link in the description of this video to get 60% off plus 1 free month, and that ends in about 4 days. It's really worthwhile to get that level of discount. TradingView is an absolutely phenomenal project and phenomenal platform. Let's have a look at Bitcoin's technical action. We can see the price of Bitcoin currently is 56,430. We are currently under resistance. We've found support at that 55,590 level. Price came down to that level, 55,590, bounced, made a high, but it was a lower high, and has bounced from that 55,590 again. I think that we may be witnessing a voyage into the $50,000 mark. We may just experience a wick down to there because we do have upward support that will play in around the 53,226 mark. But it's always good to prepare yourself for prices that could go lower. What I believe is happening in the market at the moment, there's a lot of resistance around that $70,000 level. The smart money or the institutions are trying to bait the shorts into the market, and the shorts are not really biting that much at the moment. The institutions are seeking to create a degree of confidence that the market will go down, and that will draw the shorts in. The smart money, the institutions, will seek then to liquidate the shorts and push the price through this 70,000 barrier up to 73,638. But at the moment, the shorts aren't really biting. Inside our community, we believe in probabilistic fearlessness, and we understand that prices are negatively biased. So we look at this price action as a fantastic way to gather Bitcoin and our alts at heavily reduced prices. We love buying on a discount. It's just like shopping. There are 3 factors that could be influencing the market. 1 is the Mt. Gox remediation, 2 is the debt ceiling, and 3 is Evergrande. Let's look at those independently. Our community goes independently from the news. We can see that the Mt. Gox reserve, 137,890 Bitcoin, has remained unchanged. It's not being remediated. It's not being sent out to claimants at the moment. So despite any media hype around Mt. Gox, it's just not happening. There's no movement on their accounts. Let's look at the debt ceiling issue. The debt ceiling is all about the US government paying its debt obligations. It's borrowed so much money, it needs to borrow more. It needs to increase the ceiling or the limit on the amount of debt that it can borrow. And coming into December the 3rd, that's when it was kicked down the road from the past debt ceiling crisis. We know that this debt ceiling will be lifted, but the politicians will have their field day. We can see that when we look at the Wall Street Journal headlines, that Janet Yellen, this is from 1 week ago, basically the media, the press, is not making a big issue about the debt ceiling. As the debt ceiling grows closer, yes, they're going to make a big song and dance about it, but not for now, which is really interesting. If you think that people are running out of money, it's off the radar. And we don't see too much activity on the Bitcoin search trend as well, except El Salvador to issue Bitcoin bond next year. And so it begins. I'll come back to this more later. So we can see that the Mt. Gox issue and the debt ceiling issue are not on the priority list. Nothing's happening with Mt. Gox, and debt ceiling is just being ignored until it becomes a crisis, I believe. Let's have a look at the Evergrande situation. To understand the Evergrande issue, we need to understand the Chinese property market Evergrande is one major player and very heavily indebted in China, but there are others. Fantasia Holdings is also heavily indebted, as is Greenland Holdings, Country Garden, and Vanke. In fact, these 5 companies, these 5 property developers are in debt to the tune of $920.11 billion, and they make sales of 2.15 trillion. Not a bad effort. What we're looking at here, independent assessment, we want to see, particularly Evergrande, the share price of Evergrande increase. We're not seeing that at the moment. We've seen a little bit of a bounce up, but nothing significant. Looking at the news stories from the Wall Street Journal, there's not much since November the 19th about China's Evergrande EV business to raise about $350 million from the share sales. We can see that the market's not really paying too much attention to Evergrande at the moment. And we can also see that that sale did not really raise Evergrande's share price that much. So what do we conclude from all of this? We can see Mt. Gox is basically a non-event at the moment, as is the debt ceiling, and everything related to the Chinese property market is basically in a holding pattern. None of these issues explain this reduction in price. I think that it's just a natural price movement. What we can see is Bitcoin just coming back to support. That is very, very healthy. The real fact is there's just so many sellers sitting around that $70,000 mark that they're pushing price down. Price needs to consolidate to be able to break through that $70,000 level. And it may come down to $50,000 and it may come down lower. And that is absolutely no problem. The critical question is, are we in a bear market? Absolutely not. We're in the bull market psychology phase of the current market segment. There's always 3 phases: bull market, bear market, consolidation. What we see here is we're just realistically coming up on support. We can see the relative strength is coming back to a level of support. We would expect a bounce pretty soon. Let's go back and have a look at this 2016 bull run. The 2016 halving cycle bull run was up and down a lot. Yes, it definitely came up a lot, but it also went down 20, 30, 40%, even 50% along the path. Many people thought it was over when the 40% drawdown occurred, and that's because the previous bull market cycle, the 2012 bull market, actually ended earlier. They thought it was all over. It was not all over at all. Price just kept on going. That's why it's always essential to have a plan. If it goes down to $50,000 tomorrow, what are you going to do? How will you react? I think perhaps reading this article that I put out on Medium, the link is in the description of this video, it could really help you. It actually goes through institutional thinking versus retail psychology. That's a really important distinction. So many YouTubers out there have a retail mindset, and that's why I think they get into this FUD and FOMO. FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and fear of missing out. FOMO is a big, big problem. It separates people from their money. Maybe it gets them views on their YouTube channel, but to cost their viewers money, I don't think that's right. Let's just go down a little bit and I'll show you what I want to really bring out here. When we look at a chart like this, this is the technological adoption curve of the internet between 92 and 2006, and the adoption curve of crypto between 2016 and 2030. We can see that we're actually growing far more quickly in terms of adoption of crypto than the internet ever grew. Can you imagine being without the internet now? Back in 1992, 1993, the internet was a dark age world. Like, what is the internet? It's just like hackers playing there or something, or bulletin board services. They had dial-up modems back then. If you think about the internet now, you literally couldn't live without it. And digital currencies, cryptocurrencies, digital assets are going to be the same. When the markets get overheated, they get really wobbly. What we've seen here is the fear coming into the market, starting to come back out, but we haven't got an updated version of this. I think we'll see a spike down with the recent sell-offs. These low levels of fear are the absolute single best time ever to buy. Many commentators say that you should dollar cost average in to crypto at a certain time, well, a certain day of the month. I think that's incredibly inaccurate information. You should dollar cost average in any time the fear gauge just goes off the chart, like plummets. This is what I mean down here. This is the perfect time to dollar cost average in. As we say, the redder, the better. Our resident artist, Nick, Tales from the Man Cave, what a talented guy. He created Kenman. Kenman is all about buying long tail rejections to lower the average buy price. What we're about, anytime it spikes down, anytime it knifes down in a bull market, we're out for it. We want it. We're going to gobble it all up. And that improves the overall profitability. If you manage to look at the previous video on the top gainers and top losers, I bring out some really interesting statistics there. I'd just like to thank Nick again for his just beautiful artwork. It's so important to be able to make in advance probabilistic choices. If the cryptos that you hold go up in value, what will you do? Will you buy more of them, or will you sell them, or just hold them? If the cryptos that you're interested in or hold go down and go down dramatically, what will you do then? And if the cryptos just go horizontally, they get really boring, what would you do then? Rule 138, all investors become traders whenever they buy or sell. Having a trading mindset is incredibly different to having an investing mindset, yet the intersection, taking the strengths of both, is what's really required in the world. Chaos zone analysis are the 4 stages that all investors and traders progress through to become consistently profitable and attain real wealth. When people get into the markets, initially they're full of panic, and that's very fair because people want certainty. When they don't get certainty in the second zone, they reach out and get into conflict, blame and conflict. That's very, very normal. In the third zone, zone 3, we embrace probability. It's all about probabilistic fearlessness and trading the chart in front of us. We learn forgiveness, not forgiveness for other people, forgiveness for ourselves, forgiveness that we don't know all the answers, forgiveness that things aren't certain. That is okay. This is just life. Nothing is certain in life, but we definitely do have probabilities. Patience and rules dominate zone 3. And this is where consistent profitability occurs. In zone 4, we have meaning. Meaning is incredibly important. Having money without meaning, I believe, is just poverty. It's just a different form. Zones 1 and 2 are subject to the light switch effect. That is, people want certainty and they will get triggered all in or all out, depending on the level of certainty that they feel. Zones 3 and Zones 4 are about probabilistic fearlessness and a lot of forgiveness too. It's about scaling into positions and scaling out of positions. It's about viewing the negative as a buying opportunity. If your crypto is really good, it's an opportunity to scale in. Fantastic. Better to buy at a lower price than to buy at a higher price. It's about making informed, probabilistic, in advance decisions, knowing what you will do. This will help you sleep at night. That's a big focus of this community, to take the FUD and the FOMO out of the market and to replace it with institutional thinking and institutional rules. It's about patience, rules, discipline, and a negative awareness. That's fine. Things happen in the market, and we're not triggered either in or out when we see something bad occurring. We just note it. Yep, we say, yeah, that's happening, but let's see. That's exactly what we do with the debt ceiling, with Evergrande, and also Mt. Gox. A lot of crypto investors and traders don't want to look at the stock market, and I don't blame them really. The stock market is what I call watching grass grow. It's so slow and so boring, but however, it is important. When we look back to November 2020, so the end of 2020, the global stock markets had about $95 trillion in them. The bond market, think El Salvador, had 128 trillion. And these two markets are really, really large, and money will flow from stocks and bonds into crypto. That's why I was saying the El Salvador news is really, really interesting. So what we see here, El Salvador, the first nation to adopt Bitcoin as a national currency, now aims to raise $1 billion to buy Bitcoin and invest in Bitcoin-related infrastructure. Go El Salvador! It's really interesting. If we look at Bitcoin treasuries go down to countries, we can see El Salvador is just getting going. It's like a little baby in terms of its actual Bitcoin adoption at the moment. We can expect that will change. We can see that ETFs, countries, public companies and private companies only own about 7% of the 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be produced. Now the 21 million Bitcoin will be produced quite a few years away from now, but the concept, 7%, it's not a lot. Adoption is just getting going. But now we can see what I was proposing to happen. The bond market getting into the crypto space has already begun. Can you imagine if $10 trillion worth of stocks flowed into crypto and $10 trillion in bonds flowed into crypto? That's going to explode the crypto market. What we see here is El Salvador is planning to issue next year $1 billion in bonds backed by Bitcoin to attract crypto into the country. It's just fantastic stuff. What we see in El Salvador will happen throughout the rest of the world. It will take some time, but we'll all have crypto wallets and we'll all be making digital transactions going forward. And that's not going to happen tomorrow, but it will happen. Some research put out by Fidelity Investments, and they hold more than $4 trillion in assets under management. When Fidelity speaks, it's good to listen because they know what they're doing. Less than 3% of the world's population holds Bitcoin, and less than 1% of the population has an active Bitcoin address. You can think about this like a bank account. So 3% of people hold a digital bank account in Bitcoin, but less than 1% of those digital bank accounts are actually active. You can see that as adoption grows, these percentages, these low percentages, will just scale up. It'll be 80% of the population hold Bitcoin. It's going to be really, really fascinating. Now that we've done the essential context, we can see that people can put their money into stocks, to bonds, to crypto, to precious metals. They can put it all over the place, into real estate, into businesses. When we have a look at Bitcoin versus the S&P 500, the proxy for stocks, it's up 31%. Poor old gold, it was doing really well, only down -1% a couple of days ago, now -4. Bitcoin up 208% for the past year. Looking through the main markets is really important. We have to understand sentiment, and you'll also find that many times economic commentators will make all sorts of outlandish claims on what things influence what things. They're just getting attention to their articles. Most of the time they're talking a lot of fluff. When you look at the volatility index, the VIX, this is the fear gauge of the market. We can see the fear is increasing in the stock market. Now, what does that mean? When the fear increases, prices come down. That's really normal. But we can see price is always moving in a wave, always moving up and down. This is the NASDAQ 100, this green line. we can see that the Nasdaq 100 has a lot of support below it, and in the background you can see Bitcoin's fingerprint, you can see Bitcoin's price action as well. We can see light crude oil, it's been rejected from this overhead resistance and pushed down. We can see bond prices under resistance. When people look for bonds, when they bid bond prices up, that's generally problematic. That generally happens when people cycle money out of the stock market into the bond market. We're not seeing that behavior. There's an inverse relationship between yields, bond yields, and bond prices. We can see bond yields starting to come up, testing resistance. We can see Bitcoin's fingerprint in the background. Bond yields and Bitcoin's price action have been very positively correlated over the years, so this is a good one to keep in mind. We can see gold. Gold was rejected from that overhead resistance and pushed back. We have support coming up. It will probably hit around 1776. We can see the US dollar currency index, the DXY, marching up strongly. A lot of commentators say that the DXY causes Bitcoin to fall. That is just absolute rubbish. It doesn't happen that way. After more than 30 years in the markets, I've seen so many people explain so many things absolutely incorrectly. It's problematic because many people listen to it and they lose money over it. They don't become more of a financial blessing to themselves or others. They lose money, and that's really, really unfair. We can look at Bitcoin's fingerprint here. We can see that Bitcoin's fingerprint starts down here and ends just about here. We can see, for example, the DXY starts over there and finishes there. What inverse relationship is existing when both the lines are basically the same? It's a direct relationship. DXY up, Bitcoin up. Please be careful if you come across people that say this inverse relationship. Relationships will change over time. Sometimes the DXY will move inversely to Bitcoin, absolutely correct, but it's not at the moment, and we need to keep our eye on what is happening right now. If we zoom out and have a look at the top 8, we can see Bitcoin is just simply coming back to test support. This is normal and natural price action, nothing to be concerned about whatsoever. Ethereum is also coming back to test support. Binance Coin is really strong. Binance Coin is a real standout in my eyes. Sol had come back to test support and has jumped up. It's just kind of hovering around that at the moment. We can see XRP is under resistance just currently, as is ADA, Cardano. We can see DOT is starting to lose its support and slide down, and DOGE is coming up to a level of support. Hopefully it holds that. The incredibly important thing to always remember about the top cryptos, they are in alignment with the directional movement of Bitcoin. As Bitcoin comes up, they come up. As Bitcoin goes down, they go down. Sometimes it's a different percentage, but the relative directional bias of Bitcoin plays out time and time again. It's a thing that would be ignored to anyone's detriment. It's really important to look at it. Let's have a really quick run through on the on-chain data. We can see the stablecoin Tether, USDT, is increasing in circulating supply. USDC even more so. BUSD has taken a bit of a dive recently. The Bitcoin stablecoin supply ratio SSR oscillator shows us that the stablecoins are flowing into the market, and they were flowing not into Bitcoin, but that started to kick up again. This is a really healthy sign. When we look at net unrealized profit and loss, NUPL, we can see that we're in the green area. That's where we want to be. When we get up into this blue area, that is euphoria. That's when things have become unsustainable and a correction is due. This is just normal price action. No bear market to see. We have a look at Bitcoin in the search term on Google Trends. We can see it's trending up currently. The number of new addresses in Bitcoin increases at the moment, and this is a really good sign. When things drop down, when the new addresses drop down, that's when we get worried. But we're not seeing that in the on-chain data. There's a very strong correlation between futures open interest across all exchanges and Bitcoin's price. And we know we need to track Bitcoin because it's so influential on the crypto market. We can see total open interest has been coming down. Currently, it's 22.62 billion, and the latest figure is 23.17. Looking into total liquidations, there's been about $375 million of liquidations to nearly 100,000 traders over the past 12 hours. Around 66% of those liquidations were long, and we can see the long liquidations have been going up. That's that downward price. What we really want to see is the shorts entering the market, and the shorts will make money for some time, but when they get liquidated, the price actually goes up. There is always a symbiotic relationship, kind of yin and yang, between the longs and the shorts. The longs heat the market up, and the shorts cool the market down. Both are very, very important. Looking at Bitcoin options data for options expiring at the end of the month, the put-call ratio is 0.43, total open interest 44,312.8. The max pain price, with the majority of the options expire worthless, is currently 58,000, and we can see some fairly high-priced options in here as well. Turning to Binance derivatives, 24-hour trading volume is around 88 billion. 24-hour open interest 14.6 billion. We can see that Bitcoin is under pressure, but Ethereum is under more negative pressure than what Bitcoin is. It's often good to get kind of an understanding as to what can be moving. We can see Sand has the market's attention, Elrond as well, Curve, IOTA, TLM, DYDX. Going the other way, we can see a lot of negative price pressure in IOTX, Seller, Lena, Zcash, OGN, and Theta. Rule 774, master yourself to master the market. This is quite an important rule. Having a positive life trend, going after real wealth. Real wealth is much more than money. Having kindness and authenticity, integrity and decency, having gratitude and happiness, that's the special spice of life. To have a beautiful life, it's so important to understand that you are worthy because of your absolute uniqueness. There will only ever be one of you in the entire history of the world. That's a cause for celebration. And of course, because of that, you deserve kindness, love, meaning, and every success in life. I'd like to thank the very kind community members who've reached out and shown their appreciation by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/cryptotradingks. I'd like to thank especially Kirk. Thank you, Ken. Always look forward to your videos. Thanks so much, Kirk. Gabriel from Scotland. Wow. Hi Ken, I made some bad mistakes last week, which put me on a real downer. I'm so sorry to hear that. Finding you has improved my mental health 10 times. Wow, that is fantastic. So happy to be sharing positive karma. Not every YouTuber is unique like you. Peace. Thanks so much, Gabriel, and well done. It's an absolute mind battle to be an investor and a trader. But when you master that mindset, it permeates through your entire life. It fixes so many issues. It makes you bulletproof. Well done, Gabriel. Steve, thank you, my friend. Thank you very much for your kindness. For all the community, I just want to let you know that I'm thinking of you. I know many people go through many struggles in life, and that's part of life, but it's really hard when you're in the middle of it. We have a very loving and very kind community, and everybody is here for each other. It's just beautiful. I'm so honored to know so many incredible people. I know some people in our community are going through struggles, both personal and health-wise. I just want to let you know that you have the strength to get through this, and the sun will come out again. And when it comes out again, it's going to be even brighter than before. I'd like to let you know that what I do each month is post a special coffee club video just to say thank you to the coffee club members who have reached out and shown their appreciation. I'll show, because we've got so many new supporters, I'll show you how to get in there. First thing we need to do is to log in. When you've logged in, all you do is you click on the post tab, and there you'll find the different videos in here. I hope it helps. Those videos just are a special take on the market. I always love to provide the absolute best value that I can possibly do, and this is just a sign of my deep appreciation for your gratitude. Thank you so much, everyone. I am still preparing the masterclass, but if you are interested in locking in a substantial or a deep masterclass discount, you can just reach out and email me at ken@kenstanfield.com. StanDfielD has 2 Ds in it. It's always good to consider Rule 28. Just like in life, in the crypto market, in all financial markets, opportunities reset daily. There's always some opportunity floating around there. I hope you found the content useful. Please consider sharing and liking this video if you think it will help others. Thank you to our moderators for keeping our community safe from scammers. Please say hi and let me know where you're viewing from, and if you have any questions. Please let me know what cryptos you're finding really interesting at the moment. I'll see what I can do to put a special video together on them, or at least cover them in the community favorites section. Because you've stayed to the end, I have a special bonus for you. Let's go through the community alts. We can see Veracity is striking up against its support line. That could be quite interesting. Icon is doing well. We can see upward support here, crossed above resistance. It's making its way forward. We can also see IOTEX just coming back to a level of support, but that is very close to this upward support. We can see IOTA. IOTA is getting above this level of resistance. We wouldn't be at all surprised if it came down to retest around here and then resumed up. That's actually what cryptos do from a technical perspective. We can see Atom is currently under resistance. We can see Harmony is very much in harmony with its technical analysis. It's breaking out from a level of resistance and has very strong upward support. Well done to the community members that have Harmony. We can see AVAX. AVAX is rocking and rolling. It's basically consolidating around this level of support. It also has very nice structured support underneath it. Cartesi is doing the Cartesi thing and coming back to this level of support. I wouldn't be at all surprised if it just spikes again. Cartesi is like that. Cartesi likes to party, and it likes to come back to support. If we look at this particular action here, Cartesi went up around 105%, and then what happened? Cartesi got a bit naughty and it came back nearly 50%. That's kind of just like what Cartesi does. It likes to do these things. But if you understand the spiky nature of Cartesi, you can work within it. This is all about spike trading, which I cover in the masterclass. What you will see here is Cartesi CTSI is coming back to a level of support. That could be very interesting to watch. I hope you like that. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market, please subscribe to YouTube. I've left helpful links in the description of this video. Please remember, crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there, take care, and see you next time. Bye for now.